with my students. Direct and indirect speech, reported speech, noun phrases. Here's a question that I want you to answer. Let me get this loaded. It's not loaded yet. Okay, we're getting started now. It's loading. First question I have for you is this correct? I have some Chinese. I use Google Translate. It says, 你怎么说这个字? And how do you say that in English? How about here? How to say this word? Is that correct? No, it's not correct. It's not a direct question. What it is it's a noun phrase used as a question incorrectly. You can't use a noun phrase. Here's the correct way. How do you say this word? See, we have a helping verb and we have a subject pronoun in our question. Usually we say you, and that's a direct question. Now, we have direct speech and indirect speech. And direct speech is really words that come directly out of someone's mouth. For example, I'm coming. That's direct speech from me. Now, I might say, she said, I'm coming. Now, who's coming? She said that, so she's coming, but I use quotation marks, and I say, she says she's coming. No, I say, she says I'm coming. That's the direct speech. If you say she says she's coming, that's not direct speech. That's indirect speech because you're changing the words to describe her directly. Here's some examples. Direct speech. She says, what time will you be home? She said, what time will you be home? And I said, I don't know. Simone screamed, there's a fly in my soup. John said, there's an elephant outside the window. These are examples of direct speech. They all have direct speech quotations, and the words aren't changed from what the person actually said. Now, we have another example. How do you say this word? That's direct speech. This is a direct question. We can't say how to say. How do you say? When we use indirect speech, we talk about someone told, or someone said, or someone asked. And we usually use the word that. Here's some examples. The word, how do you do it, that's a direct speech question. We use indirect speech, can you tell me how you do it? Or we also might use a different noun phrase, how to do it. See, the how do you changes two directions. One, same as do and tell me how to do it. But we also use you, how you do it. So there's two ways you can answer this question. Noun phrases have a noun in a phrase, and it's possible to use a WH question. We can have noun clauses beginning with question words, like where she lives. Now, as you can see, the direct question is where does she live? But we use a noun clause in an indirect question. I don't know where she lives. Where she lives is the object of the verb know. In a noun clause, the subject precedes the verb. Do not use the question word order in a noun clause. Do not say, I don't know where does she live. Pushing. Another example, I couldn't hear what he said. What did he say? I couldn't hear what he said. I don't know what he said. Do you know what he said? Please tell me what he said. Do not use a question word in the noun clause, question word order. The next one, when do they arrive? That's your direct question. Do you know when they arrive? That's your indirect question. Now, we don't use the does, the did, and the do in the noun clauses. Sometimes we even combine the is. I'll show you some examples later. That's something special. Who lives there? That's a who lives. Say, so who does live there? No, we change it. Who lives there? And when we use it in the noun phrase, we don't say, I don't know who does live there. We keep it conjugated. I don't know who lives there. So this is an example of a noun clause that's the same order as a question, a direct question. And we'll get some other examples later, but it's not that important. The test won't be that hard. Let's take a look at these noun phrases. How to do it, how long it takes, how it works, how much something costs, how to say it, how to cook it. When we change it to the direct yes-no question, we see how to do it, how do you do it, how long it takes. We change it to how long does it take. That's the direct yes-no question. How much something costs, how much does it cost? How much does something cost? How to say it, how do you say it? How to cook it, how do you cook it? Here's some examples of the indirect speech. How to do it changes, do you know how to do it? We use this noun phrase in the indirect questions. Can you tell me how long it takes? Could you tell me how it works? How much something costs? I don't know how much it costs. How to say it? Tell me how to say it. I don't know how to say it. Could you tell me how to say it? Do you know how to say it? How to cook it? She doesn't know how to cook it. These are all indirect speech examples. Now, as we said earlier, the helping verbs do, does, and did don't change, so we don't use them. In the noun phrase, we don't say who. Okay, the first two are examples of is. Who is and what is. This who, what, we have that example when we say whose or what's. It's very interesting. We can say who's going there. I don't know who's going there. Who's going there is the direct question. There's no change in your noun phrase when you put it into direct speech because it's a who is and what's. What's going on? Do you know what's going on? Again, we don't change the noun phrase. These are non-changing noun phrases. I don't know who lives there. Who lives there? Who lives there? I don't know who lives there. See, there's no change here. What happens next? Does he know what happens next? See, when we have the noun phrase with the question word, we know that it needs to be changed. And here's some more examples. One thing we need to talk about is backshifting of tenses. Now, how to use reported speech. Backshifting is number 4. We'll talk about that more, but there's other small changes. First of all, we need to know, is it a statement, a question, or a command? And when you use the tense in the introductory sentence, you have to pay attention to it a little bit. We also change the personal pronoun. The person pronoun, I should say. And time and place can change. But that backshift, let's talk more about that. The introductory sentence is mostly usually the present or the past. And it doesn't really matter sometimes because when we use it into simple present, we can still backshift, but usually we're not supposed to. It's very lenient and lax. I want to show you the backshift. Direct speech. Susan says, Mary works in an office. And we can quickly say to that, where is that? Mary works in an office. Okay, when we take that, we can say the direct speech, I work in an office. That's direct speech. She said Mary works in an office. That was direct speech. Now, when I report that, I say Susan said that she worked in an office. Now, that's not the past. She works in an office. There's no change. But when we say this, the I does change. That's a pronoun change. Very simple. Now, Mary works in an office. We can say it two ways. In the simple present, Susan says that Mary works in an office, or we can use the simple past. Susan said that Mary worked in an office. So we have to change the main verb there to the past. It's very natural for us when we say something like, the sun rises in the east. Now, we can say, she said the sun rises in the east. That's talking about the past. But we also can change it naturally. She said the sun rose in the east. So those are both correct. The one with rose, that's called backshifting. And when we backshift, we change the verb because we use said. We don't backshift with says. Peter says, I work in this garden. We say, Peter says he works in the garden. But because we say Peter said, we'll change it to he worked in the garden. Now here's some tense chart. If you use a simple form, simple present, I worked yesterday, then we use the simple I work in the garden, then we use the simple past. But other conditions, including the simple past, present, and past perfect, can change to the past perfect form. Will change to would, and can will change to could. But what I want you to understand, in progressive forms, the be will change to, am, is, are will change to was, were, past. And these were just the past perfect. So these are all the examples. These are the rules for backshifting tenses. And as you can see, we also can change the time, because when we talk about reporting, we might change the day. I worked in the garden yesterday. Well, he said that last week. Peter said that he had worked in the garden that day, or yesterday is the day before. It changes. It depends on the day. Here's some examples of that. I don't want to get too far because this presentation is almost over. We have some other information that we can say that, but we don't necessarily need the that. Let's take a look here. Oh, we saw that. Yep. The sun rises in the east. We can say that. We don't need it. Mandy said the sun rose in the east. Or Mandy said that the sun rose in the east. Here's some things we'll be working on. Where is he? She asked me where he was. We're going to use backshifting. What are you doing? She asked me what I was doing. Okay, remember we're doing backshifting. Was is because is to was. Okay, I'm going to use this chart more. Who was that beautiful woman? She asked me who that beautiful woman had been. Look at that. We say, where's the had been? Was, were changes to had been. Now, I'm not really picky about this. Sometimes there's small mistakes, but we definitely want to work through these. I don't have a lot of time. I'm looking at the clock. We're at 30 minutes now for 2 lessons. So I just want to give you some of the answers. These are the questions, and these are the answers. All right, let me go back and do it in the order. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 20, and then here's the answers. The wrong numbers, but those are the answers to those 10. Then we have more. We have these answers here. These are some more questions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here's some answers. You can study those on your own. You can pause the tape. And here's a script we're going to read tomorrow, or when I see you. And then here's the second half of the script. It's using some noun phrases again and again. And then we're going to change these. I'm not going to give you the answers. We're going to change these in class, just like the examples I showed you. And here's some indirect speech. We're going to change that too. And that's it. So here's some answers if you really need some, just to prepare. But try not to look at the answers. And that's it. Our presentation is over. I'm going to upload this to YouTube right now. Have a great day, and take a look for the quizzes down below. Thank you.